So, good morning, everyone. Welcome to this new edition of the Data at Breakfast. Sorry, we've been absent for a few weeks, but you know, sometimes it's busy times, and also the potential speakers are busy. But we are very happy to have with us this morning Angelique Trusler, who's here representing the Carpentries. So I will not say anything about that because she will speak about that. But as some of you probably already know, the Carpentry are an open access community to promote software and engineering and data skills to as wide a community as possible. Yeah, and we've been in touch with Angelique over the last couple of weeks because NITEX wants to join or is in the process of joining the Carpentries, and which will put us in a position to offer all the nice things that Angelique will describe this morning. So let me just say a few words to introduce the speaker. Angelique studied educational psychology and has a PhD in educational psychology, and but at the moment she's mainly responsible to lead the carpentry community in South Africa or in Southern Africa. I'm not sure, Angelique. I'm sure you will correct it. Yeah, and I think all the rest she will tell you because the talk is about introducing the carpentries. So Angelique, thank you very much for being with us this morning. While you set up your screen or share your screen, I will remind the participants to use the Q&A facility to ask questions, and Ilya, who is on one of the in the panel as well, will help us coordinate the questions. So Angelique, you're welcome to start your presentation. We can see your Google Docs. Yeah, and you're most welcome to start. Thank you very much for being with us this morning.
Oh, thank you so much for the warm welcome from a very wet Johannesburg. We currently have a bit of a storm, so you might hear some thunderclouds. So I moved to my kitchen. Hopefully you cannot see the fridge behind me. Hello, everyone. My name is Angelique Trusler. I'm the African Capacity Development Manager at the Carpentries. And Francesco gave a great introduction. I don't know what my speech is going to be about. No, just kidding. So I am mainly involved with all African carpentries related matters. And I'm going to be unpacking that today with you. Let's move on to my slide deck. So what we're going to be discussing today is twofold. The first is a global overview of the Carpentries. We're looking at the Carpentries as a non-profit organization, our 3 curricula, the workshops we run, and instructor training, because our workshops are run by volunteer instructors. So I would like to give you some background just on how the instructor training is taught, as well just a bit about the pedagogy. We look into the training itself. The second part is the Carpentries in Africa, how we developed over time, the African initiatives currently available for you in the room to attend as well, and then upcoming communities in Africa. But before we go ahead, I would like for you to join me, and I'm going to share this in the chat. Go to www.menti.com and use the code in the chat. And I would like you to share with us in the room, what do you think of when you hear open science? So I have a nice Wordle I'm going to open on the other screen. So let's see if. So as soon as you start answering, we're going to start seeing on the screen, what do you think about what data science is? So let's see. Please join us at www.menti.com with the code 4721. Apologies. That's 4721. Let's see, that should start showing as soon as any data comes in. Right, I'm not seeing anything on the word cloud. If you can just in the chat, let me know if you're having some difficulties accessing the, oh, there we go. Great. Ooh, transparent, accessible, repeatable, open source. I can see we had about 2 people answer. And we about 16 in the room. Let's give another minute or so for other individuals to submit their thoughts. So I'm seeing patterns emerge here, right? I think the researcher in me comes out, and we're seeing that reproducible is something that's very unique to open science. And I think tools like Python and R, where we could save scripts and rerun it over and over again, right? That's what's also very nice. Is it accessible? It's repeatable, open source. And I think the Carpentries particularly, we base our lesson plans on only open source software, which I'm going to be alluding in a bit. Let's move away from this now. We'll come back in a bit. Maybe there's a lag on the submissions. But yes, open source and open science is what the Carpentries is all about. And we are a not-for-profit organization. And that is very similar to a non-governmental organization in the South African sense. However, the not-for-profit is registered in California and the United States. But what is amazing, we are a global community and we're based all over the globe. We have community members in Australia, New Zealand, the whole Europe, Canada, and South Africa now, as well as North America. So the Carpentries are a non-profit organization that teaches foundational coding and data science skills to researchers like yourself worldwide. And we use open software. As I've mentioned, Python, spreadsheets, Google Spreadsheets, that is definitely, we can incorporate that into our lesson plans. OpenRefine, if you're not familiar with OpenRefine, it's a tool where we can filter and clean data out, especially when data is based on surveys. You can put it into OpenRefine, and there's various tools which our lessons refer to that you can use, like facets, to clean the data up, as well as Git. Now, we further aim to build communities and local capacity for teaching and sharing these skills and perspective. And I am running the community in Africa, which I'm very excited to share with you today. Now, a very brief history on the Carpentries. In 1998, Software Carpentries was founded by Greg Wilson. And Greg Wilson's still an instructor. He is very active in the open science community. You can follow him on Twitter. And we're very grateful for him officially founding Software Carpentry. We move on to 2014, where Data Carpentry was founded. I'm going to allude to what the difference between Software Carpentry and Data Carpentry is in a little bit. So watch the space. And Data Carpentry was founded by Karen Cranston, Hilary Lapp, Stacey Teal, previous executive director of us, as well as Ethan White. Excuse me for a minute. Apologies about that. And so from 1998 to 2014, we had 2 separate projects, Data Carpentry and Software Carpentry. And in 2018, Library Carpentry came about. However, all 3, the Carpentries, who were separate entities, merged together as the Carpentries. We are very grateful to our funders, you'll see at the bottom, the Python Software Foundation, Fred Sloan Foundation, the Science Lab, Software Sustainability Institute, the Gordon and Betty Moore Foundation, as well as our physical sponsors, NumFocus, as well as Community Initiative, for helping us do the work that we can do globally. Now, just a bit of stats, which you might find quite interesting. As of September 2021, which I think I updated these stats on Tuesday, we had more than 3,400 badged instructors. This means we have more than 3,400 instructors that partook in the instructor training course, volunteer their time to teach our workshops, and they went through the checkout process. I'll allude a bit to that. That's just a process that gets you certified as a Carpentries instructor. We've hosted more than 3,200 workshops globally, as well as taught more than 80,000 learners. Now, I spoke about software, data, and library carpentry, and you might be wondering, what is this all about, right? So I call them 3 projects as part of the Carpentries, the overall umbrella project. Now, software carpentry is involved around software, right? Hence the name software carpentry. It's a modular curriculum with 3 distinct sections. I'm going to in my next slide allude more about what type of lessons you can find under software carpentries. But the audience we are targeting here is more for researchers who need to program more effectively. So use your software program more effectively. Moving on to data carpentry. This is an audience who have significant data and they want to analyze the data. But different to software carpentry, this is domain specific. We have lessons around ecology, genomics, geospatial science, and social sciences, which is very popular in South Africa currently at the moment. Lastly, we have library carpentry, and this is based or aimed at individuals in the library and information related roles. Here we have an introduction to Git, to regular expressions, as well as Open Refine. So let's dig in a bit on around the software, data, and library carpentry lessons the Carpentries offer. And before I go ahead and talk a bit about every separate one, how are our lessons developed? Our community is run solely on volunteers. We have maintainers and we have lesson developers who develop these lessons, go through pilot phases, who currently updated on a yearly basis. So our lessons are maintained by volunteers like our instructors, which is amazing. Our maintainers come in, they have a look when, let's say, Python or R has updates, how will this affect our lesson material? And they go in, update the lesson material for instructors like myself and many others in South Africa who want to teach this as well. So the data carpentry, like I mentioned, has 4 schools of lessons. We have ecology lesson, the genomics lesson, and geospatial lesson, as well as the social science lesson. What I would like to do is just go into the ecology lesson to see this, show you the structure of what the lesson looks like and what a typical Carpentries, data carpentry particularly lesson would look like. Let's see if this works. There we go. So we have the ecology lesson. It says this workshop covers data organization with spreadsheets, data cleaning with Open Refine, and some data analysis and plotting with either R or Python. So I just want to double check. There we go. I'm going to go to the lesson now. And you can see we have lessons in English and lessons in Spanish. There's a lot of work going into translations of lessons into Japanese at the moment. And I'll speak a bit about our efforts for a multilingual glossary at the Carpentries as well. So if we look at the ecology lesson, you can see all the maintainers who are, I want to say, responsible for making sure the lessons are updated, looks good. And let's look at the ecology overview so you can see what the workshop would entail. So it starts with where you would download data, what you need to get your machine set up with. And they focus on data organization and spreadsheets for ecologists, learn how to organize tabular data, handle formatting. We have data cleaning with Open Refine, how to you explore, summarize, and clean tabular data, especially like I mentioned, survey type data, data analysis and visualization in R. So that's where we look into R, give a good foundation, how to subset, how to filter, how to do basic visualizations and plotting in R. We also have the similar lesson, but for Python, and then data management in SQL for ecologists. So this is the typical setup of a data carpentry lesson. What is very interesting and different than software carpentries and library carpentries is that this lesson group is domain specific. So you'll see the structure of the lesson might look the same, but the data sets used for social science would look different, for genomics would look different, as well as geospatial science would look different as well. We move back to my slide deck. We have the library carpentry lesson as well. And I would like to just quickly show you how or what that is built up on. And the core curriculum is based on introduction to working with data for irregular expressions, and that has saved me a couple of times. So yes, and very exciting to do that if you have to clean some messy data. I'm sure all of us had that as well. Unix shell, OpenRefied, and introduction to Git. So this is how to get your Git started, how to start using Git, etc., etc. Lastly, we have the software carpentry curriculum. I'm going to be looking at the all workshops. You can see we have 5 various ones. So let's just zoom into one of them for now. I will share the slide deck with you. Francisco and Renee can share it with you so you can revisit it when you are done. Right. So also you can see we have lessons in English and Spanish, and we are looking into Japanese as well at the moment. So what is nice about the software carpentry lessons is you can mix and match 3 of any of the above. You can have a look at Unix shell, version control in Git, programming with Python, plotting and programming in Python, programming in R, and R for reproducible science analysis. So there is a lot to choose from. And again, these are taught by volunteer instructors at the Carpentries. So this is great how the community comes together to share the knowledge with everyone. Moving back to my slide deck, we also have an incubator. And the incubator is exactly what it says. This is lessons in making. These are lessons pre-alpha phase. These are lessons that community members have submitted and they're working on it. And it's going through the phases of testing and piloting. And then one day, who knows, they might be a part of the core curriculum at the Carpentries as well. You will be able to view the link when I share the slide deck with you. You can peruse there and see perhaps there's some lesson material you'll find useful while you teach your courses at your university. Now, our workshops pre-COVID. This is unfortunately where workshop events go. We say, what do we do pre-COVID and what are we doing kind of now? Usually workshops, and I know Francisco taught a couple of these as well, are 2-day interactive events where we focus on live coding with our learners in the classroom. You could see that is a picture of a workshop run at WITS a couple of years ago. And the idea is to get people started and to introduce them to what is possible with open source software. We build confidence in using skills. There's a technique we use at the Carpentries. In the first 15 minutes of your workshop, you should learn a new skill you can use immediately. And that is the magic about our pedagogy, that you walk out every day with a new set of skills that you can immediately apply. We encourage people to continue learning. We are very aware this is a foundational lessons on open science. You will not know everything, but I think you in the room can agree with me. Academia keeps you humble and you learn something new every single day. And if you have a good foundation and you know where to find help, that really does help. I mentioned our trained volunteer instructors. We are very focused on feedback. We want to improve our lessons. We want to improve our instructor training. We constantly and continuously ask for feedback from our learners, from our instructors, and the host organizations running these workshops. And it's very important for us that is a friendly learning environment. We have a code of conduct that states that, in all, if I have to summarize it into one sentence, that we need to respect each other, respect fellow learners, and respect the instructors, and to ensure a safe learning environment. Now, in Africa, during the pandemic, we needed to jump in and make Carpentries workshop happen. And how do we do that? I led the Carpentries COVID-19 response task force, where we investigated recommendations for teaching online workshops way back in March 2020. And this resulted in a set of guidelines for instructors to teach online workshops. However, we realized that South Africa and the rest of Africa has a set of unique challenges when it comes to running online events. So I and my team of instructors in Africa piloted the recommendations of task force made and made some tweaks to them to make it more appropriate for the African content. We realized that 2 full online days is not going to work. Zoom overload and fatigue is a real thing. So we had many installation issues. Individuals which you would sit in the classroom, you can quickly walk over, help them install R or Git or something of, well, any program for that matter, we can't really easily do now. We also said it's too much information too fast. So what we did is we broke our workshop up into 5 mornings. It's usually from 9 to 1. We take regular breaks. My motto is for every 50 minutes taught, we take 10 minutes break, because these are new skills learned every single half an hour for that matter. And cognitive overload is it's real. It's not going to break down the motivation level of the learners. So we found that quite helpful. We have stickies. The Carpentries are famous for the sticky notes. We use them in in-person training, a green sticky for I am done with my exercise. You stick it onto your laptop screen or let it just stick over. When you have a question, you raise your red sticky. Now this we can't do in online settings, but we make use of Jamboard, which is a Google product, which you can also mimic the sticky feedback, I want to say pedagogy of the Carpentries. We also make use a lot of the Zoom room functionalities itself. Let me quickly see if I can actually, no. So when you're not in a webinar and you're just in a normal Zoom room, you have reactions, right? And you have the red little button and the green button. So we use that quite a bit to indicate when I'm done with an exercise, when I need help, etc. And then breakout rooms, very, very important. If we have technical problems, we move an instructor with a learner into a breakout room to assist them. Because the Carpentries have a motto, we never teach alone. There's always 2 instructors in a room at all given time. So we also make use of the remote control function of Zoom. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that, but when someone shares their screen with you and you are the host of Zoom, you can ask for remote access and you can kind of help them solve their technical problem right there and then. Very important, we help learners with screen setup. And we are very aware not everyone has 2 screens at home. Our learners might not have 2 screens where they're currently based. So we try help them set up their laptop screen or their PC screen optimally, so they have the software program open on the one end as well as their screen for Zoom as well. Something the Carpentries have also implemented is a 3-hour bonus module for already certified instructors. So this bonus module is focused on helping individuals who teach Carpentries workshops do it online. How do you convert your current in-person material and the way we are used to teaching into an online setting? We ran one of these in the Carpentry Connect event that ran from the 6th to the 17th of September, which was very successful. And the feedback we received was immense. Individuals, you know, you work with Zoom every single day, but you don't know the full functionality of the tool in front of you. Particularly if you have a subscription, it's very, very good. You have live transcription at the bottom. You can activate that as well. So that is a great tool for the pandemic and the challenges Africa faces. We also introduced another role. Usually we had instructor. An instructor and you have a helper. We have a supporting instructor now as well. We have instructors who are very experienced and lead the workshop. And then we have supporting instructors who feel not so confident in teaching online. So they teach under the help and under the wing of the experienced instructor. So moving on to how are Carpentries instructors trained? Let me get my script notes here open. Apologies, I just want to make sure I'm giving all the right information over. So the Carpentries instructors, as I've mentioned, are volunteers and are individuals who completed the instructor training event as well as the checkout process. The checkout process consists of a contribution to our learning material. So perhaps when you are looking through the R lesson, you see there's an R where there is, and you correct that. A live teaching demonstration of 5 minutes and a community discussion session you have to attend. Those are the 3 steps of the checkout process. And these instructor training events teach a pedagogy, well, the Carpentries pedagogy and the practicalities of teaching a Carpentries workshop. So what does it entail? to run a Carpentries event. The instructors are part of a global community, sharing lessons and tips and practices with each other. And this, I have to contest of our global community. In South Africa, we have, well, in Africa, we have 103 certified instructors. And during COVID, we could run more than 15 workshops in the last 12 months. And this, the reason why we have individuals in the same time zone as us who could sign up to teach workshops in South Africa, and they loved it because they want to get to know our culture, and so they wanted to get to know how learners learn in South Africa and the rest of Africa. So the pandemic has a little silver lining for the Carpentries. It opened up for us to teach in other time zones where it wouldn't be possible. So you'll see that we have instructor trainers that teach instructors, and the instructors teach carpentry workshops. So with no further ado, what about the Carpentries in Africa? I'm going to tell you definitely a bit more about that. So looking at our timeline, 2013, we hosted our first workshop at the University of Stellenbosch. And in 2016, we ran our first instructor training event at the Northwest University's Potchefstroom campus. We have a current African Carpentries meetup every fourth Thursday, which I'm going to tell you a bit more about later. But the first event was hosted in 2017 online, and we invited everybody interested, certified instructor, supporter, just inquisitive of what the Carpentries are, to this event to answer questions. And we share skills with each other and how difficult it is to teach online and what resources we make use of, etc., etc. 2018, we hosted our first Carpentry Connect in Johannesburg, which was an in-person event. 2019, my role came about. It was entitled a regional consultant, which changed as of this year. And in 2020, we piloted our online workshops. In 2021, we ran our second Carpentry Connect event, which was a fully virtual event sponsored by the Code for Science and Society's Event Fund, which we're very grateful for. Looking at a bit of stats, I do enjoy looking at this. We have run more than 150 workshops over the whole Africa of all time. You can see in 2018, we had a spike in Ethiopia as well as in South Africa. And we had a decline in 2019. But 2020, we started picking up, and 2021, we're picking up as well, even though we are facing the pandemic, and even though we are running online workshops only in South Africa, and for that matter, the rest of Africa as well. Looking at our badged instructors per nationality, it's very important to note here that the migration in Africa might mean individuals who might list their name as in Botswana, might be living in Cape Town, studying postgraduate studies there, and are international students. So we have a huge community in Kenya, upcoming community in Ethiopia, upcoming Nigeria. You can see Sudan. We have our first badge instructor this year from Sudan, Tunisia, Tanzania, the DRC, and South Africa as well. Now, what African Carpentries initiatives do we have going? I already mentioned our monthly African Carpentries meetup, which every fourth Thursday, and this is a meetup for anyone and everyone, Carpentries instructor or not Carpentries instructor. If you're a supporter of the Carpentries, please come and join us. I will, let's see if I can share this. There we go, I can. Please have a look at this Etherpad. This is also something that we do at the Carpentries. We use collaborative tools that are free and open, and Etherpad is one of that. It's a, let's say, a scaled down version of a Google Doc, which is open to anyone to view. We also have Glossaria. Glossaria is an open source glossary of terms of data science. And we are currently building an African language bank of these terms. We have already contributions in Afrikaans, isiZulu, isiXhosa, Setswana, Kiswahili, and Amharic from Ethiopia. We invite you that if you feel you would like to get more involved in translation of some of the data science terms, please reach out to me, Angelique@carpentries.org. We would be forever grateful. As I mentioned, we are a volunteer organization, and we depend on community members to help us translate these terms from English to another language so that we can then support learners in the future to learn some terms in their mother tongue, which we know from research that this is essential for that deeper understanding of what a term and maybe a technique is all about. So we invite you to join the Carpentries community, and Francisco has already mentioned that they are. If you have any questions for me, I see the question and answer box. There's already one question here. Yeah, maybe we can go to the Q&A. Francisco, what do you feel?
Perfect. Thank you very much, Angelique, for this very nice introduction to the concept of the Carpentries and to the offerings of the Carpentries. Thank you very much. I saw we have one questions in the Q&A, and it's from Adekunle Adeleke, and who asks if you have already a curriculum in public health medicine. And please, the participants, if you want, you're welcome to raise your hand and we can give you the right to speak, because we're not so many this morning.
Awesomeness. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the question. Much appreciated. So the core curriculum of the Carpentries doesn't have yet a curricula about public health. However, in our incubator, which I alluded to earlier, this is where all our new lessons are being developed and kind of brewed in a sense. We have a bunch of public health related. I'm actually looking at my other screen here. So I am going to share a link in the chat for you, and then you just need to search for the public health. But what I'm seeing in front of me, just to name a few, we have simple linear regression for public health. We have statistical thinking for public health, multiple linear regression public health, logistic regression public health, linear mixed models. I wish I knew this in my PhD, because I had such a difficult time coming from the social sciences. Modeling multi-level regressions. We have statistics for our public health. So there are a bunch of up and coming lessons. I want to what surprise you. I don't know why I can't think of a better word, but all the Carpentries lessons materials are under the Creative Commons license, which means it's free to use for anyone. You can access these lessons, you can use them. The only thing we request from you is just to acknowledge that these lessons come from the Carpentries, and acknowledge the maintainer and the developer as well. So we invite you to have a look at it. We invite you to critique the lesson. GitHub is a great platform to make suggestions with pull requests and raise new issues per lesson. So it will be super if you can get more involved in this. I can promise you there is a lot of GIS lessons coming up here. I saw for education, which is my domain itself, there's a lot of new stuff coming in. I would like to see more psychology stuff here as well. So maybe you'll see a lesson from me in the future. But yeah, so look out on the incubator as well when you're looking for materials in your domain.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I don't see any at the moment in the Q&A, but let's give the participants the opportunity to raise their hand, and we can ask them to just to share the question live with us. Yeah.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Oh, here I see another question. Link for the YouTube channel. Indeed, you can. Let me quickly grab it for you here.
Okay, that yeah, I can sort it out as well. Yeah.
I also currently we are translating the opening and the closing address for the Carpentry Connect South Africa keynotes, I want to say, and it will be up in the next month or so. So please keep your eyes on the YouTube channel if you would like to see what the Carpentries do more practically in that sense. So maybe I'll send it on to Francisco and share it over Twitter. So you can follow me at Angelique PhD. I think I do follow both Francisco and Renee, as well as Neat Text. I'm pronouncing it very wrongly. Please correct me, Francisco, if I'm doing it wrong.
It's fine. It's fine. It's absolutely fine. Thank you.
Let me get my Twitter handle as well. If you would like to follow me, we also, the Carpentries has a Twitter page. So this is my Twitter handle, and I'm going to get the Carpentries in a bit. Of course, my mouse doesn't want to play with today, because this is how it works when you're on an online call. And this is, here we go. We also do have a mailing list. I would like to invite you to join. If you want to receive any correspondence from the Carpentries, please feel free to join our local Africa mailing list. I'm sharing so many things. I will put it into the presentation as well afterwards. So please go ahead, join our mailing list, subscribe there. New funding opportunities I share there, new teaching opportunities, workshops that you might want to see what Carpentry is all about. You want to act as a helper. That would be great as well. A lot of our African participants, any workshops and events they are hosting get shared on this platform as well. So we do invite you to join we use Topic Box, but we have a mailing list for that. So we invite you to join that and join our African Carpentries meetup every 4th Thursday to see what we're all about and share your view of online teaching and your challenges and your opportunities about teaching foundational coding and programming, because this is what we're all about. We want to really grow the capacity of researchers in Africa. And my grandmother always said, how do you eat an elephant? Right, and I've never understood it when I was younger. And she says, bite for bite. In Afrikaans, it just sounds better, happy for happy, right? But it definitely is that. How do you eat an elephant? Bite for bite. And this is what we're doing in the continent. How are we going to win this? Bite for bite.
Yeah, no, and we are planning with Angelique to start offering a few NITEX organized carpentry workshops already this year. Yeah, so please, if you are interested, follow our NITEX website where we will do all the relative, or join our mailing list where we will announce it. And please, if you are interested in becoming instructor, there is also a big need for that. Yeah, so yes. Don't be shy.
Yeah, I think this is, as I mentioned, we have 103 in Africa, but we have 70 instructors in South Africa. However, we are all well aware the pandemic has different, I want to say, challenges for all of us, and teaching every single time might not be possible. And it is such a rewarding experience to become an instructor. I think if I can, maybe we have a bit of time, share my story. So I was educational psychology, and I took additional statistics modules because social sciences doesn't usually have that in our curriculum. And I got such a love for the quantitative research environment. I always had to travel to Netherlands to go do training at a university there. That's my focus area. I come from the Northwest University, that's my alumni, and I'm very grateful for the help and support they gave me. However, I found the Carpentries only after my PhD, unfortunately, and after all the travels to Europe, which I'm not going to moan about. However, it cost a lot of money and it took a lot of time and all the visas, etc. And after finding the Carpentries, I could find a community that supports you in learning these tools and the basics of these tools and helping you move on. And fast forward a couple of years, I'm working for them and I'm heading up the African part of it. So small world, and shows you, anything is possible. So yeah. Thank you so much, Francisco, for the time, for bringing my message to you today. I really appreciate it.
Sorry, there is one more question that
popped
up in the Q&A by Richard Kunz. And he asks, how can I view the unique skills course to decide if I can contribute to the teaching material or to become an instructor? And we should give Richard a very nice answer, actually, Angelique.
Yeah. Richard, thank you so much for that question. That's great. I can share a couple of links to our lesson material. We have Unix shell also in software carpentry, which I think you're going to be really excited about. Let me quickly get back on my presentation. So you can have a look there. What is nice is all our lessons are hosted in GitHub. So if you are familiar with GitHub, you can make a pull request or issue right there and then. So I'm going to share the link in the chat for you. There we go. So what I would suggest is you work through the Unix shell lessons, because they do take a different form for different domains, as well as different what direction you want to take with your lesson. So there might be multiple of them. So have a look. If you would like to make a suggestion to the lesson, please go ahead and GitHub. There's links that says make edits in GitHub right on the page, so you can view the actual lesson in the background. And our maintainers be more than happy to walk the path with you. Yeah. So our instructor training curriculum, I think that's another part that you would like to know. Instructor. I'm going to give you a link. This is just an overview of what entails to become an instructor, the course itself, the checkout process. I'm sharing that in chat. I'll put all these links in as a resource at the back of the Google slide that I will share with Francisco and Renee. Right, I think we have another question in the chat. What is the process of becoming an instructor? So the process is, I shared the link right in the chat. We as, I think Francisco and myself and Renee will look at running an instructor training event specifically for this, for NETEX, right? And the process is then, well, sorry, attending a workshop that we run for instructor training, and they taught by trainers. So as I showed in the organizational level slide, kind of, you have trainers, and the trainers train instructors, and the instructors then run the workshops. And myself and a bunch of other South Africans are trainers. So we run local for Africa instructor training event. We focus on things like GitHub, how to create your Carpentries workshop website. And we try and focus on areas we have seen in South Africa that needs a lot of attention. You go through the checkout process, which are the 3 steps. I don't want to allude too much because I don't want to give you too much information, but one of them is attend a community discussion session. It's a 1-hour session where a bunch of community members come together and they ask questions about the checkout process. They ask questions about, how do I run online workshop? It's literally a call like this, where we sit together, we chat. You make a contribution to one of the lessons. I think Richard already helped me with that. You can maybe look at the Unix shell and you say, oh, you know, there was an update to the software you used. You rather would use this argument instead of this one. So you make suggestions, and you can also make a contribution to Glossario, which is the open source dictionary. So translate maybe one of the terms in one of the languages you speak, or the other languages you speak. And then a live teaching demo, which is a 5-minute, you share your screen as if you are teaching live online. So those are the 3 steps you need to partake. And after that, you're a certified Carpentries instructor and you are ready to teach Carpentries events.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you, Angelique. I'm sure we will have a few takers after today. Yeah.
So excited. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Angelique, I don't see any further raised hands or questions in the Q&A.
I do see another hand in the chat.
Okay. Oh, sorry. I didn't see that. Okay, then let's give the permission to talk. Here we go. So please, you're welcome to ask your question.
Okay. Good morning, and thank you for this beautiful presentation. I have been challenged myself. I'm actually doing my PhD in pharmaceutical chemistry, and this is my first year of PhD. So this is like, how do I put it? It's like welcoming for me. I really wish I could just get some tools hands-on to assist in my work and also go on to becoming an instructor. I am from Nigeria and here in South Africa, and I would love that this workshop or this platform also extends to my home country, because I know it's really going to benefit a lot of people. I wouldn't know if you have links in Nigeria, or maybe you're already established in Nigeria, because I know that this is really going to be of great help to my home country. That's one. And then 2, I also want to ask as to if there is any current workshop presently that we could get a link to, or I could get a link to, that could be of help presently, any workshop presently that we could be introduced to, maybe just register and then just begin to, get familiarized with what you do, like what we can learn much more as to beginning now. And the third thing I also want to say is I just quickly checked you on LinkedIn. I mean, Miss Angelique, and I'm trying to follow you on, but I'm not seeing the button to follow. So I'm just having those issues. So those are the 3 things that I want to say.
Problem.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. You're quite connected, right? I was like LinkedIn. That was the last question I was expecting, but thanks so much. I'll share the my link in a bit. First question, yes, we do have a bunch of instructors in Nigeria. They earlier this year ran a lot of self-organized workshops. So this is a term we use for instructors who say, you know what, I'm seeing a need in my community. I'm not a member organization, but I want to run workshops. So they organize their own workshops. We have a quite active community in Ghana, Ethiopia. So because of COVID, they're running online events, and a lot of times those countries work together in participants in the workshops. So this is definitely a possibility, leading to your second question, that you could join one of those workshops. There's not one coming up that I know of, and I also deal with the workshop administration in Africa, but there are a couple of data carpentry workshops that will be running in South Africa this year still, in the Northwest University. I'm sharing, let me just share the link. If you go to this link and you scroll down to the bottom of the page, you'll start seeing upcoming Carpentries workshop, and any NITEX workshops will also show up here, unless you would like to keep it private as well. You can have a look at all the workshops here. I see one being run at UCT next week. I'm also seeing another one in November at the Northwest University being run. So have a look. It might not be the software carpentry I think you might be interested in. It might be focused a lot on R. You might want to use Unix shell or Python in your PhD. However, keep a lookout. Every week, come have a look on this page and you'll see. I'm sure as soon as NITEX runs their first workshops, they're going to be sending it through their networking and communications channels as well. And then you can sign up there as well. But if you would like to hear more about the Carpentries in Nigeria, join our call. I think it's, in about, well, yesterday was Thursday, so 3 Thursdays time, right? You join our call and come. There's a lot of African participants in the call. You think because we're based in South Africa and have a lot of South African badged instructors, this is not the case. Our call is packed with African carpentries. And if you have any questions about the instructor training event, this is the platform to ask it.
Excellent. Thank you. So we have one potential new instructor, or 2 already.
Oh, yes. So excited. So excited.
Very good. Excellent. Okay, then Angelique, it is probably my pleasure now to thank you very much for your time this morning, for introducing us to the Carpentries. And as we mentioned before, NITEX joined the Carpentries, so we will start offering very soon carpentry workshops, to which we invite you all as students or as instructors. Yeah, your choice. Yeah. So Angelique, thank you very much. I wish you another nice rest of the day and a good weekend, and of course to all the participants as well. And Ilya, thank you very much for being with us this morning as well. And we will post this video on our Data Breakfast YouTube channel later today. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Yeah, thank you very much. Well, pleasure to have you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Bye.